Be bold. Be brave. Be extraordinary. Be vulnerable. Be real. Be curious. Be true. Be you. Welcome to Trusting Your Gut with world-class energy intuitive Katherine McIntosh, a show designed to awaken you to enjoy the process of evolving, have fun along the way, and learn to listen to those silent in-between moments. You are the expert of your own life, and nobody knows more about the next steps to take in your journey than you. So please, listen to your gut and discover what's waiting for you to explore. Here is your host, Katherine McIntosh.
All right, my magical friends. So, welcome to today's show. I'm so excited to be here with you. So, today's topic is about breakthrough with your body. A lot of you know I am a intuitive and I'm obsessed with the body. And the reason being is I struggled with my body for most of my life. And when I came out of that struggle and found the resources and the strategies and the tools to change my body by not trying to change my body, my whole life exploded and changed. And I built a business, was able to travel around the world with my family. I since have worked with, billionaires, New York Times bestselling authors. I've worked with some of the most famous people in the world. And I just feel lucky to I pinch myself. I've also worked with just anyone who is wanting to evolve their life in any and every area. And, no session that I do is ever the same. No way that I work with a client is ever the same. And everybody's different. And everyone always says, Katherine, you cannot explain what you do. You just have to experience it. And I have a lot of people, they come to me for the first time and they say, I don't know what to expect. And I say, well, I don't either. And so today's topic is all about breakthrough and a breakthrough with your body. So I want to share a little story to kind of begin today's show. Remember, as if it was yesterday, I was standing in my bedroom. I had a full length, like sliding glass door mirror. And I decided to do something that I'd never done before. And I'm standing in the mirror and I was basically trying to release all the judgments that I had about basically my butt and the backs of my thighs. It's been sort of my my spot that I always hide or that I judge the most. And I'm standing there and I was basically releasing the judgments, finding things to be grateful for about that part of my body. And I'd spent like 5 minutes in the mirror, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I had cellulite on the backs of my legs, and literally the cellulite disappeared. And I was like, no, that's not possible. That can't be possible. There's no way. Right. And then the next day I did the same thing and the cellulite was gone. And I did it again. The cellulite was gone. I was like, how is this possible? And what I was doing was releasing the judgments. And at that moment, I had this giant aha. And it was if what was creating my body has nothing to do with food, has nothing to do with exercise, and everything to do with the judgments that I have. And I can change those judgments and my body will change. That was a breakthrough moment for me. And it was sort of the beginning of a giant road trip and a giant journey of teaching tools and strategies to people who struggle with their body weight or their body image or their self-esteem or their confidence. And it really awakened them. So I have two loves in my life. One is teaching these practices to help people awaken to their body. And the reason being is I know what it's like to struggle with your body weight and your body image. And, I'm pretty much the same size that I've been for a very long time. And I don't need to lose weight. I don't have to hate my body. But I spent over 20 years of my life distracting myself from creating a life that I love because I was so obsessed with this idea, which was a lie, that I needed to lose weight. I didn't need to lose weight. I needed to release the judgments. I needed to start loving the skin I was in. I needed to release the decades of childhood trauma that I had stored in my body. And when I began to start living, so creating a business, traveling around the world, raising a brand new son, that's when my body transformed, and it was like breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough. And I was able to eat the foods that I loved. I was able to, build a successful business. I had more energy. I had more intimacy with my husband. Just, I was more present in every area of my life. And the 8 to 12 hours that I had spent every day obsessing about how was I going to lose weight? And does my butt look too big in these jeans? And oh my God, everybody must be staring at me because they think I need to lose weight. Like those were obsessive thoughts that were pretty much a constant in my daily living for about 20 plus years. And when I finally found these strategies and tools, it was like the heavens opened and the light shined, and all of a sudden I had access to my intuition. And when I started having access to my intuition, I was able to follow it in a way that I never thought possible. And so I'm obsessed with this idea and this concept of loving the skin you're in, of not dieting, of being happy with your body now, not so that, if you're really not happy, not so that you can stay in the place you are, but so that you can start living. Because when we obsess over our bodies, and it doesn't matter if you're 100 pounds and a size zero, or you're 250 pounds and, not liking your body and not feeling comfortable in anything you wear, we all have judgments and insecurities about our bodies. And you hear it all the time. Supermodels who, develop eating disorders, who are constantly obsessed. And now we have, cosmetic surgeries and all these people getting, butt implants or breast implants or, liposuction or facelifts or whatever it is. It's because we've become a culture that's obsessed with beauty. And yes, external beauty absolutely will take you places, um, but we've forgotten about the internal beauty. And we've sometimes forgotten about the internal game. And so I wanted to share with you some possibilities for you if you're somebody who is struggling with your body right now. And that's you if you are constantly saying, I need to lose 5 pounds. That's you if you're constantly looking for the next fad diet to go on, even though the previous 35 didn't work. The average American woman will go on 8 diets a year, will spend an average of $1,422 a year on diets that don't work long term. They aren't successful because they're not dealing with the psychology and the emotions and the mental game that it takes to truly love the skin you're in. But when you start energizing the things that you love in your life, then you will create a body that you can begin to love. And when you start loving your body, you make different life choices, you make different food choices, you make different choices for yourself and your life path. And I promise you, I spent 20 years wasting my life making very bad choices. I got myself into a very toxic relationship. In fact, I've gotten myself into many toxic relationships because I wasn't sure of who I was. And so I was always looking for external validation. But when you begin to work on your internal game and you don't seek external, because inside you know that you are enough, inside you know that you are lovable, inside you know that you are worthy, right? Those three things, it literally will change the choices you make, the decisions you make, the way that you live your life, and it will also transform your relationship with your body. And so today I was on a group coaching call. I teach a workshop. It's a 3-month long workshop, and it's called the Intuitive Energy Course. And it's for healers and massage therapists and practitioners and energy workers and Reiki practitioners. And it's designed to help you wake up to even more of your own gifts so that you can be a more effective healer, so that you can create a more successful business, so that you can receive more money, charge more money. It's a really beautiful course. And, today we were in one of our live coaching sessions, and it was so cool to work with these people because they were all said, I want you all to share something with me, a part of your body you'd like to change, something that isn't working currently. And there were, comments from my belly, my butt, my thighs, to I have a urinary tract infection, to I have chronic fatigue, I have poor digestion. And so what we did is we started to look at, okay, most practitioners would kind of treat this as like, how can I solve this problem? And this woman that we were working with that had the urinary tract infection, we got to this place where I said, she had this huge aha, and I said, so now you can thank your bladder, you can thank your urinary tract for having a problem, because it had a problem so that it could help you elevate your energy and release this thing that you didn't even know was there, so that now you can live your life to its fullest, to, you can get on with. And she uncovered all of these things that were hidden that she didn't even know. And so when our body puts on weight, the first thing we want to do is solve the problem by putting it on a diet, by changing our eating habits, by changing our exercise habits. And yes, that is beneficial, right? Like, I currently, for the last several months, have been eating more plant based, right? I went from a total carnivore to eating a lot more plant based, and it's changing the inflammation in my body. It's changing my menopause and hormone symptoms. I have less fatigue. I have more energy. And I'm doing it because it feels amazing. I used to try to look for things because all I was obsessed about was how I looked on the outside. But I never bothered to look at how I felt on the inside. I equated being skinny with being happy. But when I got to be really skinny, which was 96 pounds, and I almost died, right? I almost died. I was like, oh my God, being skinny does not make me happy. And so, in order to have a breakthrough with your body, you have to start to look at, why do you want to lose weight? Do you want to lose weight because you want more energy, or are you just doing it for superficial reasons? And here's what I'll say is, most of you, especially if you're listening to this show, you're not superficial, right? You are interested in the occult and the mystical and the consciousness of everything and every living organism around us. And so if you're coming up with a superficial reason of why you want to lose weight, it's not like, it doesn't grab you enough to want to make the changes. But it's when you begin to discover why you want to do something and it has meaning to you, and it feels like it's something that you can connect to, you will begin to have breakthroughs with your body. But you have to look at why. And the other breakthrough that can come through is by being able to recognize that your body is just like your most intimate relationship that you will ever have. And so in an intimate relationship, you don't bark orders. If you do, your relationship won't last the test of time, right? And so to have a long-lasting, conscious, engaged, like, fulfilled relationship, you need to have a co-creative relationship, a co-creation in which you both interact, in which you both contribute, in which you both share. And the body, when it breaks down, it's trying to contribute to help you elevate your energy, to help you, eliminate maybe the negative, toxic patterns or behaviors or people that are in your life. And so your body is always trying to help you become a better version of yourself. And so breaking through with your body is about asking your body, right, to elevate to the energy you want, but also you have to elevate with your body. And so when your body breaks down, it's because you're not going where your body knows you can. And so, so many people that I talk to are like, well, what diet should I go on? What should I eat? What shouldn't I eat? And it's like, I don't know. 10 years ago, I had my body problem solved. And then in the last year, started going through perimenopause, and nothing that I did 10 years ago worked this last year. It wasn't until I started to begin to have an intimate conversation with myself and my body to ask what it required. And then I started talking to it. And I tried the hormones, and the thing that worked the most was going plant-based, was intermittent fasting, was talking to my body, asking my hormones to balance, asking my nervous system to balance, asking the unresolved trauma in my body to eliminate. I started doing somatic exercises. I started walking instead of biking and running. And so it was these mini breakthroughs over time. And yesterday I got to see a really good friend of mine, and I was like, "Oh my God, what happened? You're tiny." And she's like, "I know. I lost like almost 60 pounds." I'm like, "What did you do?" She goes, "I walked on a treadmill for a year." And she did a specific incline at a specific speed for a specific amount of time. And she said, "I did it 5 days a week for a year." And I said, "Your body is completely different." Right. And this is someone that I've also worked on and worked with and is a friend of mine. And I was like, "You look amazing." She goes, "It took a year. I had to commit. I had to commit and keep going." And I think sometimes we're a culture obsessed with instant results that we actually destroy the possibilities that are happening. And so, just one second. We are taking live callers today. So we are going to have a live caller, but we're going to take her after the break. Let's see. There we go. Multitasking, right? Multitasking. So, my friends, this is about inviting you to consider that if you are only trying to do external solutions, you'll only get temporary external results. But if you commit, like my friend, to going on the treadmill 30 minutes a day, she wasn't committed to an external solution. She was committed to an internal journey. And she's a completely different person. And I even commented, I said, "Wow, you don't just look different, you are different." And so when we go for external solutions, we get temporary external results, which is why diets don't help people keep the weight off long term, at least most people. So 95% of people can't keep the weight off long term. It's a short term thing. So So, for all of you out there, this breakthrough with your body is actually an internal game, right? And that internal game happens, right? That internal game happens when we begin to discover what our body is trying to communicate, and it leads to a breakthrough. So, we've all heard the saying, when your body breaks down, it leads to a breakthrough, right? Well, it's true. The body's breaking down to help you have a breakthrough in your life. And so, remember, my body in all of its phases of life breaks down when I am not in alignment with my best version of myself, right? Whatever that means. Maybe I'm dating someone that isn't the best for me and I keep trying to make it work. My body will start to break down. My first ever breakdown was with my first husband. I married very young at 25. I married out of insecurity and I thought it was my first love. I found a love very late, well, later in life. At least that's what I thought. 25 is still very young. But when I found him and we fell in love, I thought, well, when he proposed, I was like, well, no one else is going to love me, so I might as well say yes. Which is not the best place to commit to a lifelong journey together. So obviously, it didn't last very long, right? And I think that with our bodies and this desire to want to look our best, which I think is amazing, but you have to ask yourself, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for short term results to relieve the pain that you have, to relieve the insecurity that you have? If you're using an external solution to relieve an internal problem, it's never going to last. And I hope that makes sense for you, because the truth is you have to work on your internal game and find that sense of peace, find that sense of balance, find that sense of energy. And so in this intuitive energy course today, what we were doing, and people were like gobsmacked, right? Their jaws were like, "Oh my gosh, it's that easy." And so a lot of healing modalities, they go at it from this place of it's hard. I studied shamanism for 8 years and it was hard. And I watched shamans work on other people and even work on me, and then they'd get sick afterwards, and their perspective or the philosophy was, well, we're taking, the evil out of the body. I'm like, yeah, but you don't have to take it into yours. That is not your problem or your responsibility. And so for the last 20 years, I've been doing energy work, and I've found these really easy ways to shift and transform people's lives. And one of the quickest, easiest ways to do that, and I'm going to ask you to practice this in your own body, is find a place in your body that you might struggle with. Maybe you're insecure about what it looks like. Maybe you actually have digestion or gut issues. Maybe you have thyroid issues. And I want you to just pick up a place in your body where you have these problems, right? That you think you have. And you're just going to close your eyes and you're going to say hi to that body part. Okay. And you're going to thank that body part for still being here. You're going to thank it for riding all the tough times with you, for still being here, for still working as best as it does in the moment. And I just want you to, for a moment, have gratitude for the journey that this body part has been on, right? Say hi to it. Yeah. And then we're going to ask for all the energies around this body part to energize. There we go. To elevate, to get really bright. There we go. And then we're going to ask for this body part. We're just going to ask it to energize a little bit, to increase in its energy. There you go. And then you're going to say hi to it again. And just notice if there's just a slight change, right? And so we do these things like, my hormones change because I asked my hormones to change. And for some people listening, they might go, that lady is crazy. Yes, I am. I'm crazy enough to do something alternative that because all of the normal methods and means of changing my hormones weren't working. And I was dealing with massive fatigue. I was dealing with massive irritability, crazy mood swings. I felt insane. I lost my drive and motivation. I felt like nothing mattered. It was really, really strange. And I still have those temporary moments where it's like, wow, nothing matters. And then I snap myself out of it by doing some of the techniques that I teach. And, we have a 5-day breakthrough body challenge coming up this week, and you all are invited to join. And it costs less than what it would cost to have a week's worth of coffee. And so I just want to invite you to check it out and see if it resonates. And so this is for you if you have been, frustrated with your body, if you are constantly always looking to lose 5 pounds, if you've tried absolutely everything and nothing's worked. And so instead of feeling frustrated, lethargic, depressed, sort of constantly in this yo-yoing effect, you could start to have more energy. You could start to feel more connected to your body, but you'll start to feel more connected to your life, and you'll finally have the freedom you've always been looking for. And so if that's of interest to you, you can check out my website. The link is katherinemcintosh.com and then /body, lowercase body dash breakthrough. So katherinemcintosh.com /body dash breakthrough. You can check it out. Please pass it along to anyone you might know. I'm on a mission to help people love the skin they're in so they can live their lives, so they can create their dreams, so they can have energy, so they can feel sexy and alive, so that relationships can withstand the test of time, and that people start to seek internal resolution and internal self-love. So check that out. And then we are taking live callers today. So we're going to take a caller after we take a break. So hang tight. Thank you for being here and listening. And if this is resonating with you, please feel free to share it on any social media channel you're on. The more people that hear this message, the more people we can change and the more present we can be to truly create our dreams. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back after this break.
OMTimes TV.
Do you trust you? Do you trust your body? What if the key to unlocking the weight, pain, suffering, fear, anxiety, addictions, traumas, and sorrows was already inside of you? Learn to love the skin you are in so you can create the body, business, and life you love. Everyone always says you can't explain what Katherine does, you just have to experience it. From Hollywood actors to New York Times best-selling authors to some of the world's wealthiest and most successful, no two experiences are the same. For private sessions, online courses, live events, and the latest book Jack Canfield calls Game Changer and should be required reading for everyone, go to katherinemcintosh.com. KatherineMcintosh.com.
Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. OMTimes Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, OMTimes offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an OMTimes magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on OMTimes TV and broadcasting it across the extensive OMTimes radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. OMTimes. Open yourself to the possibilities.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
All right, my friends, welcome back from the break. So, we are talking about having a breakthrough with your body, and it's never what you think. And so, our bodies are these conscious entities, these conscious beings, and they are designed to contribute to us. But a lot of times, when we're not paying attention to our body, like a little kid that we're not paying attention to our own kid, and they say, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, mommy," and then they start increasing the volume, and then we finally, when they hit a pitch that gets our attention, we're like, "What?" Right? And so the body's the same way. It breaks down not because it wants to make your life difficult or more challenging, but because it actually wants to make your life better. And so the body breaks down because we're not listening. And those people that struggle with their weight, it might not be that they're not listening. It actually might be that they have stored trauma in their body, or that their nervous system is constantly in fight or flight. And so there's so many different things that happen. And so there's no one right solution. But for those of you that have been spending your lives trying to lose weight and you're still searching for a diet or a food regimen, that's not the right solution. The solution is to go inside and cultivate a sense of self-love, a sense of self-appreciation. So how do you do that? You can meditate. You can journal. You can ask yourself why you want what you want. You can ask yourself, like, what did you learn from your traumas? What did you heal from? How did you learn from them? What do you think about yourself? And the more that you become self-reflective, the more awakenings you can have. And they can come in the simplest of forms and in the most surprising ways. And the more that you elevate your energy, evolve your consciousness, evolve your expression of self, the more change happens, and the more like energy you are, the easier it is to create this conscious relationship with your body that stands the test of time. So when your body breaks down, like mine did about a year plus, I had the tools and resources to change my body. And it wasn't without struggle and pain. It wasn't without problems, but I navigated these tools and resources and got deeper into what actually works to create transformation. And I'm doing a 5-day breakthrough body challenge that starts this week that you are welcome to join for less than what it costs to buy enough coffee for a week. So, with that being said, on the show, I've always dreamed of being able to take live callers. So, we are going to take someone who has a question.
Hi, Katherine. Do you hear me?
I do hear you. Hi, Julia.
Hi, this is Julia. Nice to meet you over the
Nice.
radio.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm calling from Europe, and I'm a big fan of OMTimes radio. So I was listening to your show a couple of times, and I decided to give it a try today.
Awesome. Well, your question, tell me what your question is.
Yeah, so I was hearing all the time that you approach this subject, that many people are trying to lose a lot of weight, but I'm on the opposite side because I would like to put some more weight. I'm very skinny for a few years, and despite all my efforts, which I agree, the efforts were not constant all the time. Um, I'm the same, and I don't succeed to to add more weight on me. So, I wanted to ask you, is there also like some energetic work that I need to do about that, or
Well, let me
how I
ask you
should approach it?
yeah, let me ask you a
Mhm.
question. So you said this started happening it's been a few years that you've been trying to gain weight?
Yes, because I
And
was. Tell me, sorry.
and so what happened in your life a few years ago?
Yeah, so that's the trigger was when I broke up with my ex-boyfriend. This was the reason.
Yeah. And so what might be happening, and we can just see, is your body still in that, like, because sometimes when we break up with someone, we don't eat, right? We're
Right.
heartbroken, and so
Yeah.
is your body still functioning from a heartbroken state?
Hard to say. I really don't know. It might
Yeah.
be.
Well,
Like,
so a lot of times when I ask these questions, we don't always know the answer, but our body does. And so I always invite
Mhm,
people to sort of ask their body, right? And when I ask these questions, it's usually a yes or no, right? Because what
mhm,
happens is when we're dealing with trauma, we want to try and solve the trauma with our heads. But almost always the trauma can be solved when we stop using our heads and we start to go into our bodies, because our bodies hold the blueprint and the imprint and the consciousness of what happened, but it also holds the
mhm,
key to unlocking where we're stuck. Right? And so a lot of people that struggle with their weight, I mean, most people would love to have your problem, and I'm not suggesting that we keep you
mhm,
having this problem, right? Most people really struggle losing weight. Not as many people struggle to gain weight or keep weight on.
mhm,
And so a lot of people who have the opposite problem that you do, most of them, try to do external means like a diet, like restriction, but what they don't address is that trapped trauma in the body. And so my guess is, and you can see if this feels light or heavy to you, my guess is that you have trauma from that breakup still trapped in your body.
mhm.
Does that feel like a yes or a no when I say it out loud?
Like a yes. Like
Yeah. And so have you ever done anything to give your body permission to release the trapped trauma in your body?
well, I went to a healer like 2 years ago, who was doing some crystallotherapy and sound healing, and I started to feel better. But I went only to one or two sessions. Yeah, I remember well, two sessions, because then I wanted to go more, but he didn't uh, accept it. So I guess he considered that was enough, and
Yeah.
that's all I did.
Yeah. And so that's sort of like what most people do, right? They try something for a
Mm,
little bit of time and then they give up, right? But what we
mhm,
can do and what you can do, Julia, is it's not about what you're doing to eat to gain weight. It's about what it feels like to me, and you can see if this is a this feels true to you. So the other way to look at it is like when I'm telling you what may or may not be happening, you can see, does what I'm saying feel expansive? Does it make you expand out, or does what I'm saying make you contract? Right? And so
mhm.
it feels like the trauma of the breakup unlocked like a lot of lifetimes of not feeling lovable.
Yes.
And yeah, so I can feel it in my throat and in my body. And in that process, it also then, like, almost like, I want to say it in this way, it almost like it terrorized your system. So it took you
Mhm.
back to a point in time where you were in survival mode and there wasn't necessarily maybe a lot of food or you just couldn't eat. And so it feels like your body's stuck in a time period that isn't true for you in the moment.
Yeah, that's very accurate.
Okay, so here's like for me as a healer, we're just going to ask that energy to release out of your body. We're going to thank it for keeping you safe. We're going to thank it for
Mhm.
being there. We're going to thank it for allowing you to survive. And then we're going to let it know that that energy is a past energy and it's no longer needed. You no longer need that energy. Because my guess is that you'd like to heal so that you can attract a new relationship and one that, is maybe even better than the one before. It's my experience that every relationship or job or business or, thing that we let go of, it's rare that
Mhm.
something worse comes along next.
I totally agree. Yes.
It's almost always something better, and so your body is stuck in this, like, fight or flight, and then it's not able to attract a relationship that you want to attract,
Mhm.
right? Because if you attract the
Right.
type of relationship now in this fight or flight state, are you gonna attract what you wanna be attracting?
Mhm.
Chances are probably not. So what I would encourage you to do is I would just talk to your body and
Mm.
let your body know that it's okay. It's not your fault and that it's
Mhm.
okay to let go of the breakup. It's okay to let go of all of the past traumas and that
Mhm.
your body, like you and your body, are lovable enough. You are good enough. You are worthy enough. Because I think your digestion is stuck in starvation mode. I
Mhm.
don't like if I'm looking at your body, I've never met you before. You live in Romania. I don't know anything about you except for our
Yeah.
conversation right now. But it doesn't seem like you have anything stuck in your body that I can see. All I can see is almost like this trauma response around your spine and your nervous system. So if you can start
Mhm.
talking to your nervous system and ask your nervous system to rebalance, right? To that
Mhm.
your nervous system has permission to let go of that trauma and that you're safe.
Mhm.
So when you're eating, you can tell yourself you're safe, right?
Yes.
And that might start to change the dial, and if you want, I think I heard you say about the if you want, you can join us for the 5-day breakthrough body challenge. You might get a lot. We're going through a lot of systems because I can't just give you everything in this moment in
Mhm.
time. But I would say
Yeah.
that there is hope, that it is more, psychological, emotional, spiritual, where you're stuck rather than it being like a physical problem that you're dealing with. Unless
Yeah.
unless you think otherwise.
Yeah. And actually, I'm working with a psychotherapist about my childhood trauma for some weeks. And
Awesome.
yeah, I'm trying. Yeah. Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah, so all of those things, and you can also do somatic exercises. So the psychotherapist, great, do what works. I'm always a proponent of like combining, yes, you being able to talk through the stuff, but also we want to energize what is working. Because sometimes I went to school for
Yeah.
psychology and the more I talked about my problems, the more depressed I got.
Yeah.
So just find a
Yeah.
therapist that isn't gonna keep you stuck in that and that can help evolve
Yeah.
as you want to evolve.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for the.
You're you're
Uh,
so welcome, Julia. Thank you for calling in.
thank you. Have a great
You
day ahead.
too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. So, my friends, it's sort of like this game that we play with ourselves, right? And, Julia, thank you so much for calling in. And there's so many things you can do. You can also look at my website. I have tons of free resources on my website. I've got a section where it's like free content, live videos. It's all free. And if any of you resonate with this and want to join the Breakthrough Body Challenge, it's 5 days. We start this week. Y'all are welcome, right? No pressure. It costs less than what it would cost to buy coffee, at least in where I live, buy coffee for a week. So, the point is that we all have these strategies and things that we try, and you want to pay attention. Try everything, try anything. When you're trying it, when you're doing it, when you're done with it, do you feel more expanded or more contracted when you're done? And that's how you know that you're going in the right direction. And so in order to have a body breakthrough, you want to follow the moments and the times and the things that you do that feel expansive, right? So I'll give you an example. I was working with someone today and they're like, well, I got to get my steps in. Right. And they were sharing that they feel fatigued. They've been dealing with digestive issues for years now. And I'm like, well, maybe, right? Maybe you actually feel like, she's like, I got to get my steps in. I'm like, how do you feel after you've done your steps? She goes, I feel fatigued and exhausted. I said, well, then maybe you want to reduce your steps, because if you're doing something that's making you feel contracted, that's going to weigh on your energy. It's going to weigh on your feelings. It's going to weigh on you as a person, right? And so weighing on you is not an elevated experience. It's not an expanded experience. And so whatever you do, and whether it's dealing with a therapist or getting energy work or trying a diet or changing your health habits or going on an exercise regimen or whatever it is, when you're doing it, you want to make sure that when you're done with doing it, it feels more expansive. All right. So I do moments with clients, and my sessions go pretty deep. And I always say to people, you're probably not going to feel great for a week, but after a week, you'll probably feel great. Or it might take you 2 to 3 days, right? You might need to sleep. You might need to take a nap, whatever it is. And so, but in the whole, when you're done, you should feel better. If you're not starting to feel better, whatever you do. Now, if you're someone who's never worked out a day in your life and you start going to the gym or start hiring a trainer, you start climbing mountains, it's not going to feel good while you're doing it. It's going to suck, to be honest, right? I just did a really hard hike the other day and I was like, this was horrible. And after I was done, I felt exhausted. And it wasn't until the next day that I felt energized. And so just pay attention to whatever it is y'all are doing. What are you eating? When you're done eating it, do you feel expansive? Who are you seeing, right? What relationships do you have? What are you doing in your business? When you do these things, do you feel expansive afterwards? And if the answer is no, chances are you need to shift your mindset. You need to get sort of a different head on your shoulders or pick something different to do. But the point is that most breakthroughs happen internally first and then the external. Right? And if you want this to last a lifetime, you want it to be not just a short-lived experience because you need to lose weight for a wedding or, some special occasion, but you want long-term results, then you have to do the internal work inside. And it doesn't have to be hard. It shouldn't be painful. It should actually be a really fun experience. It's kind of like getting to fall in love with you. And if any of you have had the experience of falling in love, it's a euphoric experience. You're getting curious, you're learning new things, you're going on new adventures. Same thing with you. You're going on an internal journey to get to know you and fall in love with you. And when you start falling in love with you, and you're willing to let go of the traumas, which don't have to be hard or painful, it can be just a conversation, right? And yes, sometimes we need help. Sometimes we need, to get energy work or to work with a coach or to, see an acupuncturist or to, work with a psychotherapist, like whatever works. Just pay attention to when you're doing it. Does it expand your world? And this applies to everything. Your daily habits, what you tell yourself when nobody's around and nobody's looking, what you think about yourself when you look at yourself naked in the mirror, right? Make sure that the words and the thoughts coming out of your head and out of your mouth are thoughts that are elevated towards, or at least directed towards, expanding your energy, elevating who you are as a being, and becoming the best version of yourself that you possibly can be, because that's where the breakthrough happens. And so, my weight loss journey and my body transformation journey didn't come from food or exercise. It came from changing how I thought about myself, how I felt about myself, and releasing those sort of unseen traumas that have been trapped in my body. And so, like Julia calling in, she might have a trauma that activated this I'm not lovable or I'm not good enough in her body that could be from 2 years old or 3 years old. And here's what happens is when we are dealing with a trauma that happens to us before we can speak. So even up to 3 years old, some cases 4 years old, we don't really have our verbal abilities to its full potential, not like when we're an adult. And so if you're taking your adult brain to a therapist or to a coach and you're trying to solve a problem that happened before the age of 4, what happened before the age of 4 might not be verbal. It might be nonverbal or pre-verbal, and it's pretty hard to verbally get to a nonverbal or pre-verbal trauma. And so, but those nonverbal, pre-verbal traumas can be trapped in the body and stuck in the body. And so this breakup that Julia had might have activated a pre-verbal or nonverbal trauma that she had when she was a little girl. Right. And I don't know that unless we were to do like a deep session. And, as much as I would love to go that deep with someone, it's not always easy on radio and like all that stuff. But the point is, my friends, is that you're not screwed up. There's nothing wrong with you. It's not your fault, and there's no problem to solve, right? This is about beginning to cultivate love for yourself that withstands the test of time. And when you do that, the external solutions, you don't need to go searching for them, because the internal self-love that you have for yourself will lead to a breakthrough, will allow you to be in alignment with external choices that match your internal self-love. If you don't love yourself, like I said to Julia, if she tries to go find a relationship now, and she might be in one, I didn't ask, that is my apologies. But if she goes to try and find a relationship now, she might attract the same kind of energy that she left, right? That was part of the breakup. And so in order to elevate her energy and get back to something better, it's resolving that internal conflict. And sometimes it can't be resolved through talk therapy alone. So do what works. Find a movement practice, a yoga practice, a meditation practice. Get deep into what makes you come alive and pay attention to those moments that expand you. So I just want to thank you so much for being here. I hope that today's show was impactful to you, that you learned something. If you took away an aha, please send us an email. You can reach us on our website, katherinemcintosh.com. Send us an email, Katherine@katherinemcintosh.com. Let us know how the show contributed to you. Please feel free to share it on social media and anywhere and anyone you think this show might make an impact. Again, thanks to the producers for having me. And if you want to see what you can break through and transform and change in just 5 days, you're welcome to join me for the Breakthrough Body Challenge that starts this week. And you can go to katherinemcintosh.com/body-breakthrough. You can also just go to my website. You can find it on the events, online classes, or just on the main page. So thank you again for being here. I hope this message was helpful to you, Julia. Thanks for calling in. And if you want to call in next time, stay tuned. We'll be live next week where you can also call in, ask me any question about your life, and we will see you next time. So thanks for watching and listening, and bye for now.
Katherine is not a medical practitioner nor a licensed therapist. She has strong opinions and will express them, and truly believes that you are your best advocate for any and every area of your life. If you need medical advice, please consult your physician.